I know I'm not the only one who's angry right now, and if you're angry too, this video is for you. We are watching our communities being attacked. We are watching atrocities happen left and right. Of course, your rage should be used as fuel and as motivation to take real action, but sometimes we just feel frustrated or helpless, or sometimes we don't have a way to express that in the moment, and that doesn't mean that we should sit and stew in the rage. We should be able to alchemize it. We should be able to use that energy to create the world that we want to see. And we all know how bad it is to leave stagnant emotions in the body. Having trapped anger without being able to release it is not good for you. It's not good for your immune system, and it can lead to worse issues down the line. So I'm going to show you a few really simple ways that you can release your anger. And the very first one is actually specifically for Black sheep, or for people who just can't be very loud, but they need to release their anger. So this one's actually silent. It can be silent. And I'm going to show you the first step right now. So this first option is completely silent, and you can also scream or release anger as you're doing this, or be verbal. But if you need a way to process your anger and you have to be contained, you have to be quiet, or you don't have a lot of space, this is going to be the most helpful tip. So go ahead and put your hands on the wall and just push your anger. And I don't know if you can see the bottom of my body, but I'm essentially just forcing all of my energy into this wall. And like, again, trust the wall, trust that your surroundings, right? If you want to do this outside, you can. But this could be really discreet, right? You could do this in a hotel room, in your bedroom, wherever. But you're essentially going to think about all the things that are making you angry and just push, almost as if you're trying to move the wall or push it back. And you're just going to use all of this energy and all of this motivation to ground into the wall, to push the wall. And this is going to allow you to essentially channel through your body to release some of the excess emotion that you have that is not serving you or benefiting you right now. And a bonus tip is, if you are able to, you can take a little bit of salt water on a rag. If you have moon water that's made for cleansing, you can also do that. Florida water, you can take a spray. You can also smoke cleanse. But especially if you're doing this in your own home, or really anywhere, I recommend doing a little bit of cleansing afterwards, so that there's not like anger trapped in the walls of your home. But truly trust that the resources you have around you are enough to be able to do this practice. The second one that we're going to do, and I like to involve the sun in this, so what I like to really do is like pull up and draw into the energy of the sun. The sun represents anger in so many different ways, right? This burning hot fire, and yet it provides all of us life and sustenance. And so it's this idea that I kind of like to bring into rage. And so what I'll do is, and I'm only going to do this a couple of times because I have downstairs neighbors. Thankfully, they're not home right now. This is more something I would want to do on like a hike or at a park if I'm outside. But you essentially draw in the energy of the sun, thinking about the sun, thinking about the anger, thinking about the rage, and then come down. So you come onto your tippy toes as your arms come up, and then you drive down your heels into the earth. And so you're kind of using the element of the sun, the element of fire, even the element of air to draw it down and then to ground yourself into the earth. So I'm going to do it a couple of times. Okay, so you see how like it can take a minute to kind of get into the zone of the anger, to kind of charge it up, but thinking about the situation, about what that person said to you, about what's happening collectively, anything in particular can really be what you kind of meditate on for a second, building that energy in the body, driving it up, thinking again about the sun, what would the sun do, and then grounding it into the earth, knowing that these elements are so much stronger than you think, knowing that they can handle this, and if anything, they can guide you to channeling your anger in the best way for the highest good of all people, right? Or of your community, or of your collective. Okay, I didn't actually expect to spend this much time in my office, so this is kind of funny that we're still here, but I wanted to show you another couple of options. So this is actually going to work best if you have a backyard or some sort of outdoor space, and also if you have a rug, okay? I don't have like a large enough outdoor space where I could actually do this and it would make sense, but one of the ways that you can release your anger and be productive at the same time is to take one of your rugs and and to hang it on like a clothesline or anywhere that you would be able to hang it in your backyard, and just take a broomstick and beat that mother effer, okay? You are just gonna take all your anger, and also you're seeing literally the dust and the anger or the old energy or the stagnation release from a physical item that's large in your home and that takes up a lot of space, and seeing that you have like something cleaner, something lighter, something more fresh that you can bring back into your home. I would also focus on releasing stagnant energy from the rug itself, but then releasing anger from yourself. So it's kind of like a double whammy. You can come back with it, allowing that stagnant energy to be released, especially from an item as large as a rug and something that you literally put your feet on and ground yourself on every day. That allow you to move through and act through the anger in a healthier way more easily. So if you come back and you have allowed space for downloads or allowed space for that anger to kind of work for you and to be released as heaviness from your body, you've also brought in this large item that is free of its stagnant energy. So it's kind of like the connection of where you need to act and actually taking those steps and those actions has shortened, right? There's less stagnant energy around you. There's a less push and pull with the anger or with the next steps that you should be taking. And so all of those things in combination can actually be so helpful and such a great way to process your anger. I'm going to show you a different version as well. If you are indoors, if you don't have a rug, if you don't have an outdoor space like me, this is actually my wand, but I've done this before with a broomstick. So literally anything you have, a baseball bat, a broomstick, as long as it's not going to injure anything around you or anyone around you, go for it. I of course just have a pillow here just to, again, not be too loud, but you know, just obviously like we've all heard the punching the pillow thing. So taking your anger and really kind of going into it, having a broomstick or something larger could also be nice. Doing this on any type of couch you have could be great. And this, honestly, I didn't really think about it, but doing this quietly or punching a pillow in your room could also be a way that you can release this anger quietly or at night after everyone's gone to sleep, which can be very useful and very common for black sheep. But yeah, I'm just gonna demonstrate getting some of my anger out with this wand, and hopefully I don't break it. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Dude, if I literally look better filming in my bathroom than I do anywhere else in my house, that is actually homophobic. So why are we in my bathroom and why am I holding a random meerkat cup? Okay, this is actually such a cool tip. It's the newest tip that I've learned, and I actually learned this from Eliza Day, so shout out to her. But this is a cup of ice, okay? And we are going to throw this ice into the bathtub because we can throw it as hard as we can. And if you are able to be loud, if you are doing this, then I would recommend vocalizing one thing that you're angry about while you throw each cube of ice. That's not something Eliza mentioned, that's just something I thought of on my own, but I feel like that can be a really good way to kind of verbally process and also use your throat, use your body, use your mind to get really specific on what it is that's making you so angry, or to just allow that rage to be like, to come up to the front, right? And sometimes that anger is stagnant. Sometimes it's hard to express it and to release it because we've been holding on to it for so long. So if it does help you, whether it's personal, whether it's political, whatever it could be that is on your mind, you can choose different things and scream them out, or scream out different things you want to say to that person or whatever it is as you throw the ice. Okay, so here we go. Our cube of ice. I'm not going to yell out what I'm angry about because my neighbors just got home and they could definitely hear me. So I'm going to do that part silently, but this is the whole process. That was my last piece, and yeah, that felt pretty good. I was able to like do it strong enough that some of the ice cubes shattered, and seeing that was really nice. Seeing it shatter also felt like a physical representation of the things that I was angry about being released, being like done being stuck and trapped inside this ice cube, inside this box, and instead actually being released out to the world, whether it is all of the things I've been holding on to that make me angry, whether it is all of the ways that I want to change the world, all of the ways that I feel powerless, whatever it is, allowing it to be broken open and sent to the universe, not in a way of sending anger out, but just in a way of claiming justice, I feel like is really nice. The final and one of my favorite ways to process my anger is actually through alchemy, right? Asking the question, how can I turn this rage and this anger into motivation? How can I turn it into action? How can I turn it into something that is going to do something for the community, even if it's small, even if I have to start somewhere and I feel lost, right? And so I actually have this candle next to me. I lit it on a different clip and then lost the footage, but it's essentially just a tea light candle. It has red chili pepper and salt on it, and essentially the purpose of using those two ingredients is that red chili peppers can represent fire, once again, can represent this anger. It can be used in protection magic, right? This idea of like lashing back, this idea of heat, bringing the heat, and to me that represents anger in this situation. Red chili pepper is also something that's used in a lot of South Asian cooking, and it's something that I feel very familiar with, so you may have a different correspondence based on what you use or your background. And I also am using salt just to represent, again, this idea of like cleansing or purity, another form of protection as well, but salt as well, and using salt with red chili powder allows me to kind of symbolize the alchemy through the candle, right? Because I don't want to send my anger away. I want to use it as fuel for action. I want to use it as fuel for more ideas. So the reason why I light a candle, and you can do this in any way you want. If you're advanced in candle magic, then do what you do best. If you are someone who is brand new, but this is intriguing to you, this is how simple it really can be. I have more of the spices kind of inside this tin, and then I put just a dash on top. If you put more on top, it can sometimes make it difficult to burn the candle. Normally I'll put this on my altar and I'll sit down in front of my altar and just stare into the flame, but for the sake of this video I just have it next to me, and I normally just come to a cross-legged position and either stare right into the flame or close down my eyes and ask spirit to guide me, right? I ask for downloads, for intuition, but it begins just as me clearing the space in my head, right? Getting to that meditative kind of zen place allows me to clear my head, open up my intuition, open up my mind's eye, and really hear where spirit is guiding me to take the next step. Even outside of that, I sometimes visualize the anger itself. You know, what does it look like? What's the density that it has? And visualizing it shifting or changing, or maybe you even visualize it like leaving your body and turning into wisdom or guidance or protection for your community and raining down on your community, or coming down onto the areas and the land that you love, coming back down to protect yourself as you go and take action. So you can really alchemize your anger into anything, but of course I think it should be something that also continues to give back to your community and give back to the causes and values that you care about so deeply. So I hope that this video helped you. I know it was different for me, so I'd love to hear from you. Is this something that you like? Is this something you want to hear more of around anger, around other emotions? Give me a like if you're into this type of video and you want me to make more. Give me a comment if there's different ideas that you have or different things you want to hear about. And if you want to work with me one-on-one or get the self-worth blueprint for Black Sheep and cycle breakers, you can do all of that at blacksheepexperience.com. Remember that you're worthy whether you believe it or not. I love you. I almost forgot the last tip, which is to literally just throw a freaking tantrum. So again, if you live alone, or if you have a place where you can be loud, if you can even go into a rage, like a rage releasing room or whatever they're called, those things can be so helpful, but sometimes you just need to throw a tantrum like a toddler. And again, I wouldn't do this in public. I wouldn't do this around anyone who has not consented to be around this, but it can be so helpful to actually just like lose it, you know what I mean? And to not have to constantly be shutting yourself down, repressing yourself. And so I don't necessarily like feel super comfortable doing that. I guess it's not something that is naturally inside me, but like that feeling of like, it's not fair. Why does this keep happening? And this could be done in the way of you fully channeling your inner child. So if you remember how you used to like throw your hands up and scream or flail around, like obviously don't hurt yourself and don't do anything that is going to be dangerous or going to upset people around you. But if you are alone and you're able to do that, it might sound weird, but it's going to resonate with the people who it resonates with. And this doesn't have to be for you, right? You can find one tip in this whole video that resonates for you, that makes sense for you, and just stick with that as your way. But for some people, especially if you maybe are into theater or you like using your body a lot and you feel comfortable doing something like that, you can just throw a tantrum the way a kid would. And it could be about a huge, complicated world issue. It could be about something silly that happened with your coworker or with your partner, right? Whatever it is that you need to release, don't tell yourself that you're too dramatic to release it. Don't tell yourself that the way you're acting is too dramatic, because this is actually one of those things that I feel like is a huge societal flip. It's like all of a sudden we're not allowed to express our anger. And again, I agree, it can be very harmful to do in public, but if we are constantly telling ourselves that now's not the time, that they don't want to hear it, that we're not safe to express it, that we shouldn't complain, that we should suck it up, and all these things are things that Black sheep have always been told to do. And so that's just how we process, that's how we deal through life, is by shutting down essentially and shutting things out, or reacting in a completely opposite direction and spewing that anger everywhere. And neither one is healthy, right? We need to find a healthier balance. So having some time or using this as an opportunity for inner child work can be really, really helpful and really beautiful in, again, healing the inner child, but also giving yourself permission to express yourself, to be angry, to complain, to do those things and not be told that you are too much. And I think that is something that all of us need, and all of us need to, in order to heal that younger part of ourselves that was always told that they were too much. You can get as like embodied as you want to with it. You could literally dress up like your inner child. If you have any of your childhood stuffed animals, you can bring them with you. Like whatever it is that you need to act this out, to embody it, there is no limit that's too high if you are by yourself and, you know, doing something that's safe. So yeah, I wanted to add that in there, and I hope that this was kind of like an interesting tip that maybe you hadn't thought about before.